Welcome to Co-Pilot Podcasts. Picture this. You're sitting at a table with dice, character sheets, and 3 massive rulebooks, and someone just asked you to create a human-elf hybrid bard thief. If that sounds like speaking ancient Elvish, you're not alone. Today, we're walking through the intricate world of advanced Dungeons & Dragons character creation, specifically how a dungeon master guides a complete newbie named Chuck through building his first character using the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual 2. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the step-by-step process and why this classic system is both beautifully complex and surprisingly logical. So let's dive right into this rabbit hole. What exactly is Chuck getting himself into with AD&D character creation?
Well, according to the Player's Handbook, character creation in AD&D follows a very specific 9-step process. You start by rolling ability scores for 6 core attributes: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Then you choose a race, select a class, pick an alignment, record saving throws and THAC 0, roll hit points, record movement, select proficiencies, and finally equip your character.
Wait, THAC 0? That sounds like something you'd order at a Mexican restaurant.
Ha! THAC 0 stands for 2-Hit Armor Class 0. It's AD&D's combat system. But here's where Chuck's request gets really interesting. He wants a human-elf hybrid, which in AD&D terms means a half-elf. And according to the racial requirements table, half-elves get no ability score adjustments, unlike other races.
Okay, so half-elf is doable, but what about this bard-thief combination? Can you even do that?
This is where AD&D gets absolutely fascinating and completely different from modern D&D. According to MJ Young's analysis of the Bard class, you cannot actually begin the game as a Bard. The Bard is what's called an unusual class. You have to start as a fighter, advance several levels, then retire and become a thief, advance again, and only then apply for Bardic training with the Druids.
Hold up, so Chuck can't just roll up and say, I'm a Bard? He has to earn it?
Exactly. And for half-elves specifically, the rules suggest they should begin as a fighter-thief multi-class rather than just a fighter, then retire from both classes simultaneously to become a bard. The Druids won't accept candidates who haven't reached at least level 5 in both fighter and thief abilities.
So this isn't just character creation, it's like career planning for an imaginary person.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the requirements are pretty strict. According to the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition wiki, Bards need minimum ability scores of Dexterity 12, Intelligence 13, and Charisma 15. Plus, they must be at least partially Druidic neutral in alignment.
Neutral alignment, so Chuck can't be the classic heroic good guy or the edgy evil character?
Well, he can be neutral good or neutral evil, but he must be neutral in at least one dimension. The character needs to be dedicated to the Druidic balance. It's this whole philosophical thing about maintaining equilibrium in nature.
This is already way more complex than I expected. How does a new DM even guide someone through this without their head exploding?
That's where the step-by-step approach really helps. You start simple, roll those 6 ability scores first, everything else flows from there. If Chuck rolls low charisma, the bard path might not even be viable, so you'd pivot to other options.
Right, so it's not just about what the player wants, the dice have a say too.
Exactly. And here's something really cool from the Complete Bard's Handbook. There are actually 15 different bard kits you can choose from once you become a bard. You've got the Charlatan, the Gallant, the Gypsy Bard, Herald, Jester, Jongleur, Lawmaster, and more. Each has unique abilities and flavor.
Wait, a Jester Bard? That sounds amazing. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Chuck's still trying to figure out his starting stats.
True. So let's say Chuck rolls decent stats and can pursue the bard path. As a level 1 character, he'd actually be starting as that fighter-thief multi-class. According to the 2nd edition rules, he'd get 1d6 hit points, start with 2d6 times 10 gold pieces for equipment, and have a THAC 0 of 20.
And what can he actually do at level 1? Any cool abilities?
As a multi-class fighter-thief, he'd have basic thief abilities like pickpockets, detect noise, and climb walls. He can use any weapon, wear armor up to chainmail but no shield, and he starts with 3 non-weapon proficiencies. Plus, he's automatically proficient with a musical instrument of his choice.
Okay, so he's got some skills right away, but no magic yet?
No spells until he actually becomes a bard, which won't happen until much later. But here's where it gets interesting. He can learn 2 instruments for every proficiency slot spent on musical instruments. So Chuck could be a multi-instrumentalist from day 1.
I love that detail. So while he's sneaking around and fighting, he's also practicing his loot skills for his future bardic career.
Exactly. And this is where the three core books really work together. The Player's Handbook gives you the character creation rules, the Dungeon Master's Guide helps the DM understand how to run the game, and the Monster Manual provides the creatures Chuck will face.
Speaking of monsters, let's talk about this adventure featuring bugbears. What's special about the Great Bugbear Hunt?
The Great Bugbear Hunt is actually a fascinating piece of D&D history. Yeah. According to the archive, it was written by Frank Mentzer in late 1981 for the AD&D Game Open tournament at Gen Con South Game Fair in February 1982. It's been used as a tournament at several conventions across the United States.
So this isn't just some random adventure, it's tournament tested?
Exactly. And here's what makes it perfect for Chuck. The module specifically states that this area is not meant to kill off characters. If a party is having a tough time and wants to retreat and rest, only evil creatures will follow them. It's designed to be challenging but fair for new players.
That's actually really thoughtful design. No one wants their first character to die in the first session.
Right. The adventure is set in a small wilderness section with badlands terrain, streams, light woods, and marshes. It's divided into hexes, an outer A ring numbered A1 to A12, a B ring numbered B1 to B6, and a center labeled C1. Each hex has its own detailed map.
Hexes? That sounds very tactical. Is this like a board game?
It's more like a structured exploration system. Each hex contains different wandering monsters and lairs. The creatures are territorial and don't wander far from their homes, so there's an ecological logic to the encounters. If you change anything, the module advises making sure new creatures would fit ecologically with the area.
I appreciate that attention to detail. It's not just random monsters scattered around. There's a reason they're where they are.
And here's something interesting about the Monster Manual itself. According to the 2nd edition wiki, the hardcover Monstrous Manual was created specifically because DMs requested a single, durable volume that would be convenient to carry. It consolidated every monster from Monstrous Compendium Volumes 1 and 2.
So it was literally designed for portability? That's so practical.
Exactly. And the manual specifically notes that all monsters described are typical for their type, but DMs are encouraged to create unusual variations. The key is that variations are most effective when they depart from what players expect.
So even with all these detailed rules, there's still room for creativity and surprise.
Absolutely. And that's really what makes a good DM, knowing the rules well enough to break them creatively. For Chuck's first adventure, the DM might use standard bugbears, but maybe one of them is a former bard who can give Chuck some insight into his future career path.
Oh, that's clever. Using the monsters as storytelling opportunities, not just combat encounters.
Exactly. And according to Runic Dice's beginner DM guide, the key is to prep in scenes, not scripts. You outline the goal, a twist, and an exit for each scene. Keep stat blocks minimal, just name, AC, HP, and a signature move.
That sounds way less overwhelming than trying to plan every possible outcome.
Right. The Metal Art Games Guide emphasizes that no matter how much you prepare, you'll never feel completely ready, and that's perfectly okay. The key is having a solid grasp of the core rules and being willing to make fair rulings on the fly.
So for a DM guiding Chuck through this process, what's the most important thing to remember?
I think it's understanding that character creation in AD&D is collaborative storytelling. Chuck isn't just picking stats and abilities, he's creating a person with a history, goals, and a path forward. The complexity serves the story.
And the fact that he can't just be a bard immediately, that's actually part of the character's journey.
Exactly. By the time Chuck's character finally becomes a bard, it'll feel earned. He'll have stories from his fighter days, skills from his thief training, and a real appreciation for what bardic magic represents.
It's like the difference between being handed a diploma and actually